So welcome to second session of F5 trainings. So in this class, the agenda will be to set up the lab of F5. So this is a basic diagram that we will use. Initially, we will use to do practicals of F5. So this is a single big IP F5 that we are using. And what we will consider, so we will take this part as our internal side. And this side as our external side. So external side means on external side, the clients who actually will access the services that will be hosted on this side. So they are connected to the external side. And on internal side, we have our internal servers on which the services are hosted. So it could be like your web service, your DNS service, your FTP, or any other service. So this side, internal side, is your servers are hosted. Okay. Later on in classes, we will also discuss like, so in most of the cases, your F5 device won't be directly connected to the internet. Okay, so it's not the ISP connection would directly connect to this LTM. So in most cases, this F5 will be connected to your like LAN segment, or maybe DMG segment. Okay, so any firewall will be here, and ISP connection will be connected to your firewall, and your F5 could be on like if this is a DMZ zone or a LAN side. So this is how in real scenarios your F5 would be connected. But we'll talk about in details how this F5 would be connected in real scenarios. So in this class, we will mainly focus how we would do the practicals in this lab setup. So as I said before, this is our internal, right? This is, we consider it as external because we'll do our testing from this Windows machine. So we'll take this on external side, we'll take this window machine, L3 switch, and big IP F5 on our, sorry, this would be your internal NAL. So in internal, I have kept like a switch and I have kept 4 servers. So guys, if I talk about like, initially when you use your EVNG and when you try to add a big F5 node, you won't see any option here to add the big IP. So it is very simple. You can go to F5 download website. So you need to create your account here on F5, and it's not like it has to be any company's domain, and then it will let you to create account. So you can use your personal account as well to create your login, username and password on this F5 website. You just log in with your credentials, and you say like, and you have to select for your big IP this first option. And we are doing this lab practice on the latest version, 17 version. So we'll select the first option. And here you have to select your virtual edition. So we are doing this lab practical in EVNG. So we are using virtual environment. So after clicking on this accept button, so here you actually have to download this file, QCOW to zip and all this 17. So it's around something 129 MB. So after downloading this file, which I already have, you have to put this file on your EVNG. So you will see like which IP your EVNG has gotten. And after that, you will connect to your EVNG through WinSCP. So once you are connected, you have to go on this path, OPT, and this path. And here, what you have to do is you have to create a folder with this name, BIGIP 17, this one. And just one quick notice, guys, you have to use this name as small b, okay, in BIGIP. We'll choose a capital B. So even after adding the file here, you won't see the option to add this node here, okay? We will still show you like it is showing for other devices. So once you created the folder, the file that you have downloaded, you have to change its name to this one. And after that, you have added the file here. You would be able to see the option to add this BIGIP node. And other devices that you need to add is like we will use Linux CentOS servers and we will run web services on these CentOS servers. So how you would get this CentOS option? So you have to go on EVNG website, official website, and then you go to like documentation page, and then you have to select how to, and there you will see the option to add Linux devices, this Linux page images. And after you clicked on this option, you will get on this page, and it's showing here the option to download all the Linux images. And it's actually a mega link to download the Linux images. And we are using Linux CentOS. They have so on this page you will get what options you have to do. So once you will download this file, you will see this as a zip file. You just have to extract it and just paste the same folder. They already have edited the name, so you don't have to do anything. Just paste this, copy and paste this folder to the same location where we added this BIGIP, like this one, Linux CentOS. Just what is different from this BIGIP in adding this Linux? You also have to use a fixed permission command, this one, on EVNG CLI. So once you have added it, now you have all the files required that you need to add in this lab. Okay, so initially what would I do? We will first connect this BIGIP through CLI. I will mention it here. So what we will do, so first we will connect the BIGIP through CLI. And what we would do, we would configure the management interface IP. I will configure management interface IP. And once I did it, then I will access this big IP via this management IP through the browser. Okay, so first we will configure the management IP on this big IP. So I will start this big IP first. And if I show you the configuration wise, so I will suggest you to use 2 CPUs for this LTM and use at least 4 GB RAM. So it will take some time to start up, but not much time. Okay, so it's now prompting us to enter the login. Uh, by default, every F5, they have given us what is the user and password by default. So by default, the username is root. This is of CLI, okay? And the default password is actually default. And once we try to log in with this default password, it will ask us to change the password. So it is first asking what is the current password, which is default. And now it will ask to set the new password, which I will select any. Okay, so I have changed the password, and from then on, when I will try to connect the big IP, this LTM through CLI, I have to use username as root and password as the new password that I have set just. As I said before, the first step that we have to do is to set the management IP of on this LTM. So to do this, there is a config utility. Okay, so you just have to type config. After this, it will prompt us with this configuration utility. You can see the name. So I'll just press OK here. I'll select I want to set up IP version 4. So it has by default picked this 43 IP. So I want to use the IP of my choice. So I'll set something 230. This net mask is okay. And this default asking, uh, uh, do I want to add the default route on this management interface? So, okay, I'll select this .1 IP as the management. Yes. Okay. Now I set up the IP on this management port as 192, 168, 29.230. Now you guys might be wondering why I have added here this cloud. There is a reason for it. So actually, what I want to do is I want to connect this big IP LTM through this external machine itself. So if I show you the IP on my machine, IP config. So the IP on the physical interface on the Ethernet adapter is this 29.250. Like recently, we set up the management interface IP of BIGIP as 192.168.29.230. And if I try to ping it, this IP, I can ping it. Okay. But how I managed to establish the connectivity of my external machine to this management interface IP? And this is what this cloud is doing here. I'll show you the interface configuration of this EVNG. So this is actually the first step that you have to take here. So I'm using two network adapters for this EVNG. I would also recommend you guys to use this way. Use Keep this first network adapter as bridged and automatic. Use this, replicate this option, and use the second adapter and use any BMnet. Okay, but see if we need to use this network adapter later on or not. But from beginning itself, choose two adapters. This is sure, like you have to use the first adapter as bridged automatic, and this is why this adapter is will be the one which will let us to connect that this big IP through our external network. So on this cloud side, you have to choose this type as management cloud. Okay, so only two options. Once on this EVNG side, your network adapter is bridged. Okay, the option is bridged. And on this EVNG side, the cloud that you have selected, you are using this as management cloud, this option. Then it will let you to, then this cloud will let you from your external this machine to connect to this management interface. And that is why I have set the IP in the same subnet, right? So my machine IP is 29.250 and this management interface IP is 230. So they are in same subnet. So yeah, the first option was to set the management IP, right? The second step is now access F5 through GUI. And we'll do licensing IP addresses, like this basic configuration, right? DNS, NTP, like these configurations. So this licensing is very important, guys, in F5. So even we are using this big IP in the lab setup, it still requires licensing. So without licensing, it won't allow you to use this box. So we like this earlier they used to offer this three kind of licenses. First is free trial, lab license, then full featured evaluation. And the difference was this in this free trial, they were only used to offer LTM module of F5. So you guys know, right? F5 offers couple of different modules like LTM, GTM, your ASM, your APM. So in this free trial, they only used to offer the LTM. It was free of cost, and the validity was around 90 days. And then they used to offer this lab license. In this lab license, they used to offer all the modules, but the only and this full featured was actually that was used in the actual production. And the difference between lab license and full featured was of throughput. Like with the lab license, you won't get the same throughput that you would get with full featured evaluation license. But now if you see the I'll later on show you how you will get these licenses from the F5 website itself. But they offer only one free license, and that actually now offers all the modules, but they have reduced validity of the license. It is valid for only 30 days.
In the next session, guys, we'll see how to download the F5 license file and how to finish the initial GUI configuration on the F5. So I'll meet you guys in the next video session.